Cynthia and Joe, it is a pleasure to have you guys with us today. I don't know that there's another credit union that is as advanced with cryptocurrency as Visions Federal Credit Union. Visions has been an inspiration for us. They've actually inspired this whole conference. But let me tell you a little bit more personally about them. Cynthia Schroder is currently serves as Senior Vice President of Digital Assets. I'm just curious, how many people here are from a credit union that has a Senior Vice President of Digital Assets or even a Vice President of Digital Assets? Nobody. Cynthia? It's lonely at the top. Okay, she's worked with credit unions during her entire career and is particularly interested in technology, security. Oh, technology. I wasn't off, Cynthia. I wasn't off. And implementing innovative solutions to drive business opportunities. She is joined by Joseph Keller, who serves as Vice President of Digital Assets. Again, who has a Vice President of Digital Assets? Does anyone know of another credit union? Oh, you do? Are you Visions Federal Credit Union? Oh, thank you. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, so let's just repeat. Visions Federal Credit Union has a Vice President of Digital Assets and a Senior Vice President of Digital Assets. And we're hoping that we're going to see more of that. I will say that when I started working with credit unions over 20 years ago, very few credit unions had a marketing director. Hard to believe now. Nobody had a social media anything. And today, most credit unions actually do. So, progress. Joseph brings years of experience in the digital asset space, and I can vouch for that. He doesn't want to speak today, but he's going to speak today. Together, Cynthia and Joseph will take us beyond division and discuss how their credit union has been able to accelerate tremendous growth with responsible innovation.
How do you know that you have a talented IT type person, whatever your titles might be?
How do you identify talent in the digital asset space? That's a good question, actually. Not that there's bad questions, but I like that question. One, I would probably say, well, we've done multiple things. So before I even joined Visions, they did some surveys of employee base, just kind of gauging interest and who demonstrated some kind of interest and then some kind of knowledge. And then we've actually done multiple sessions. We've called them various things, but educational sessions, but also kind of ideation sessions. Where we've brought in a plethora. It didn't really matter what area you were in, if you had interest in the digital asset space.
Joe, I'm sorry. Can you go to the microphone? Most people are not in the room. They're on live stream.
Is this working online? Am I online? Am I?
You want to get into the microphone?
We have lapels on.
Look, the lapel should be, hopefully the lapel. Coming through? Coming through? Oh man, look at us. We're like the technology forward session. As you guys were wondering. Yeah, there we go. See, so we did a lot of different sessions, bringing employees together to engage the conversation, and from that, I think you have a good idea of like where people are. But that also is really helpful, and we'll speak a little bit more about education and the importance of education, both internally and externally. So it's a good way to gauge interest, but also knowledge. The hard part is if you don't have a threshold of where knowledge should start, how do you understand if someone's knowledgeable or not knowledgeable? So that may be the challenge from a talent management stance.
Has the regulator reached out to you guys since you're probably on a cutting edge?
We're heavily engaged with NCUA in general, yeah.
Mainly the vice chair, NCAA's vice chair, Kyle Hoffman.
Okay.
All right, so I think introductions have been completed. I'm Cynthia. This is Joe. And
Glad I
that was
didn't
a
wear the
hard
same
act to
suit.
follow, but hopefully we will get as many laughs and it'll be as entertaining. I'm not sure our poll is going to work because it got closed out and started. We're going to try this. It won't take you long if everybody get their phones out, please, and everybody online. And if you just go to, write it with your browser, just go to slido.com. Really easy. You don't have to download anything.
If you're really cool, you can do the QR code.
Yep, or you can do the code. Oh, I'm sorry if I get out of the way.
Well, by standard T tables, I think 10 is actually a quorum.
Yeah.
So we can say this is probably the averages.
So we just wanted to start with this. We've got a couple polls just to make this exciting and interesting, and we are looking for interaction. Please stop us throughout for questions. We really would like that, to have those questions throughout, okay? All right. So Visions started its journey actually back in 2016. When we started, we added blockchain and we added cryptocurrency to our technology disruptors watch list. that we used in our Advancement in Technology Committee that we met every quarter. And we would go through and we would see what's happening with those technologies. So we went all the way back to 2016. We didn't actually start our journey digging into digital assets, though, until February of 2021. And we did that after we started seeing the outflow and the inflow of members' funds going to crypto exchanges, and we'll talk a little bit about that. When we did start in February 21, we created an internal digital asset advisory group of all of our senior leaders and our CEO, because we needed to make sure that we had support from the top down. And we created our strategy, which was to bring together organizational leadership from all areas of Visions, to begin actively exploring what role we wanted to play and what partnerships, which was very important, we needed to strike to maximize the value of digital assets. We also wanted to be an industry leader and forward-thinking in this newer digital asset space. So what we did together is we built a four-pronged approach with the pillars of education and awareness, identify and investigate, ideation and review or testing, and then implementation. And that's how we pulled our digital asset strategy together. And we started our journey with data gathering, like I said, with the outflows and the inflows, because we needed to know what our members were interested in, if they were interested. And we found out that they were. We actually started tracking in 2018. We did not see much activity until 2021. In 2021, it went way up. And we started seeing millions of dollars leaving the credit union, coming back in through ACH, debit credit, wires. And we started tracking that through a Power BI. We looked at now we're looking at over 50 to 60 crypto exchanges on a daily basis to see what's happening with that. So that was our data gathering. Then we moved into just overall awareness and education, because we lacked an understanding around digital assets. We started calling everything crypto, and as soon as we started our education, we found out early it isn't the crypto piece that's important to us, it's the related or underlying technologies. It's the blockchain, it's the smart contracts, it's the NFTs, it's all of that. Crypto is a piece, but it isn't as important as those other underlying technologies. We started building our network of supporters throughout the credit union industry. As Trish said earlier, we completed the request for information, NCUA's request for information, which we actually started. Trish and I started in June, I think. We submitted it in September because it took us that long to answer the 26 questions or 40 questions. There was a lot of them. But we used a lot of resources to help. NAFQ was a great support for us. Strategic Resource Information, SRM, no, Strategic Resource Management. Larry Prest will hopefully be speaking later today. They helped us with it. PSCU's been a great supporter of everything that we've been doing. CUNA Mutual. They're all working on this, and they're helping credit unions with this, and they will help all of you, any of you that are interested in learning more about crypto and digital assets. Then we started with our employees, finding out what's happening with our interest of our employees and the interest of our members. Started doing surveys of our members, and just kept all of that awareness gathering going. We actually started our own external digital asset user group, which we kicked it off in November. We had 14 credit unions and some credit union associations a part of it. Now we have close to 100. And it's a bi-monthly meeting, which anyone's welcome to join. Next month, we have Vice Chair from NCUA speaking. We have Dale Baker from NAFQ, and we have Ron Hammond from the Blockchain Association. September, we have Dr. Quinn from Feline. Feline's an excellent resource also. And we have Lamont Black, who's really sharp on all things digital asset. So it's a really good group if anyone's interested in joining. Again, it meets every 2 months. And we have a portal with a lot of information that's available too for that group. And then we moved into our planning and implementation stage. Joe and I took everything we could think of within the digital asset ecosystem, and we put it on a prioritization matrix. And we started scoring them out to find out what would have the greatest impact for Visions to move into. We used complexity scores, we used growth, we used member experience, we used employee experience, all of those things, and we scored. And then we moved into what we were going to go into for 2022, and we created our roadmap, of which Joe's going to walk us through. This is just some of data of our information that we track from the members' activity to those 60-some crypto exchanges. And this is pulled and is updated every single day, so it's always current. And there's, in your book, there's another slide. We took it out of here, but there's another slide that'll show you the average age of our members, also the top 5 crypto exchanges. So there's more information in there. We have a lot more data on NYDIG, which we'll talk about in a minute too, because one of our first entrants into this space is with NYDIG to buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin for our members. And Joe will get into that a little bit. Yes?
Cynthia, is there any surveying done on the current members using those 50 different outlets, why they chose?
No, that's a really good idea, though. We have not done that.
So there's a little bit of complication to that. You could just straight survey to your membership, and some services have tried to do that. So some of the trade associations are doing a little bit more, I would say, digging along that line versus us specifically as a credit union going directly to our members. There's also, depending on how much you're involved in this, it could be very convoluted, and I could deposit money into Coinbase and I could invest in any of the 40,000 cryptos. Am I going to list all 40,000? Am I going to have them try to list which ones they're doing? There's also a little bit of, are we just trying to understand whether they're investing in the asset class, or are they trying to understand the technology side too? So there's a little bit there too. So a little bit light, but there are some trade associations for sure trying to get a better understanding of what members are actually, what actions they're taking.
All right, roadmap.
Roadmap. So as we continue to look at the digital asset space, we really wanted to look at what was grossly impacting our members, meaning what activity were our members engaging in, and then what concerns and risks did we want to evaluate from an understanding of how to better help our members with activities they were doing or actions they were taking. So it was clear and obvious that our members were engaging in sending money to certain exchanges. We weren't sure if they were buying, holding, doing trading, but they were clearly involving themselves in those kind of actions. So as we continue to evaluate, doing some risk management on those things, it was really a question of how do we want to better serve our members, and then how do we better protect our members, and how do we educate our member? So as you can look at all of these exchanges, there's a lot of opportunities to go through. And so we did a quick evaluation on what we knew our members were doing. We said buy, sell, and hold is now an option with what NCUA gave us guidance on. So we made a pretty quick distinction and understanding of we should probably offer that to our members, but why? And the why really came down to helping educate our members, providing them a safer environment to do it in, as we went through our vendor management process, standard vendor management, to understand the third-party relationship we were going to have, and then to continue to help our members get education, but also put in some speed bumps along the way to really give them some education and awareness in order to actually, I'm apparently out of center of the camera, so I'm gonna move over here, so now people online can probably see me and not just hear me. That's great too. To really give you that moment of allowing a member to do it in a safer environment. That was kind of the table stakes for us. So as Cynthia was saying, we did a quick analysis of, hey, what does this ecosystem really look like? What services, products are available to people outside of what credit unions offer? And we went through that list to really start digesting what are other things along our roadmap that we think we should put higher priority. Everybody's probably heard of some kind of crypto rewards program. So we're continuing to evaluate crypto rewards as an option for our members. We don't have a seamless way to do it currently, and so we are still in the process of digesting that. And then you go down the basis of, well, if I'm able to buy that asset or hold that asset, what might my member want to do with it? Well, they may want to use it as some kind of collateral. So would I do some kind of collateralized lending with it? How would I do that? They may want to transfer it or make a payment with it. How comfortable could I get with that, and how would I enable that? So continue digesting an evolution of what a member may want to do and how do we increase their experience, particularly with this asset class of crypto.
Some of the other things that, anyway, we've got things on our list like mining. We put everything we could think of on the list so that we wouldn't miss anything. We also have the payment tokens and stablecoins on our list, and we've been working with Best Innovation Group, John Best, and Bonify, John Ainsworth, on a stablecoin, credit union stablecoin called Tenera that's been patented. Not that it'll go anywhere, but we're going to be involved in a test with it to see could it be faster payment options for members within credit unions? Could it be a credit union stablecoin? There are banks working, a lot of banks working on stablecoins like USDF, USDC is out there. There's a lot of stablecoins. So there's a lot others opportunities on our list that we're working on. There's a lot of roadblocks though, because it all takes a lot of awareness, and it takes somebody to team up with to work on it together. So, any questions? Yes?
First to market on a credit union coin, is there urgency?
No. No.
The
First-
question was being first to market on a credit union stablecoin or token of some kind. So I would say I'm sure there's competitive advantages to being first to anything. There's also competitive advantages to being a fast follower or seeing how it plays out. The stablecoin environment in general, whether you're a CBDC or a stablecoin or a pegged coin, I'm probably, and most people look at me for one thing and then hear me talk and they think I'm a crypto craze and I'm all about this world. I'm a risk manager by trade. And so I'm probably in the inverse camp of like, hey, we should pump the brakes and figure out how to really do this and do this within the regulatory framework that we're given. And so no, I don't think there's a real advantage to being first to market in this place. I think actually there's even enough pause to say, are we over-exaggerating the use cases for a stable coin or a CBDC versus a payment token or some kind of technology used for distributed ledger technology versus, oh, I need a whole new currency that's going to be created?
Yes.
On your roadmap, have you researched any mobile banking platforms that offer crypto through their?
Yeah, so NYDIG is the one that we chose. So Q2 is our mobile and online provider. Q2's marketplace had NYDIG already vetted. So our implementation of NYDIG was very quick. We actually signed in September. We had it up and running on the 16th of October in a test environment for our employees. We didn't roll until the end of January because there's a lot of behind the scenes tasks that had to be completed. And at the same time, Bitcoin in November and December started doing this. So we rolled at the end of January. I can show you some of our results with that when we can come back here, but it hasn't been great because we haven't marketed it. That's one thing. It's a slow rollout. We've done a little marketing with a financial awareness article in our magazine. We have a Bitcoin initiative or incentive underway, $5 that they would get if they do purchase. That's underway now, and we have seen an increase in it, but we only have had 1,000, this was as of end of April, 1,000, or end of May, 1,028 members with, I think, roughly 3,500 now transactions. Our average age is 46, which we found very interesting, and our average transaction amount now is up to 209 per transaction. But there are other vendors out there. We have talked to so many, Crypto FI, Unify Money, Zero Hash. I could go on and on. There's so many new vendors coming into this space.
Is the member adoption a result of your membership demographics?
It could be.
Yeah, I would say so. We get this question a lot as we're traveling and speaking a lot of, do you think there's a difference in size of credit union, demographic of credit union, those kind of base? I would say, and repeating a little bit of what Cynthia said, we definitely took a methodical approach to the rollout. So no heavy marketing, no real push, more focused on education. And we're also in the camp of not being pro or anti. So we really just want to educate our members and then provide them a safe environment to do it in. And so, yes, there is some interesting places as you talk to some other credit unions who've rolled this out, different demographics. We are New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. So those are our field of memberships. And so we see our mirroring our membership in a lot of ways. But when you talk to some of the other credit unions that have a more national base, it probably plays more towards the standard view of a crypto investor. So yeah, I think demographics does play in. So depending on the demographic of your credit union, I think that would matter.
We did talk to a credit union that was the first actually to roll out NYDIG. They rolled out in November, and they've had a great response. I think the 15,000 transactions, is that what we heard? 12 to 15, possibly?
I think they're like 8 through
Okay.
May.
Okay,
But
so it was up there.
yeah.
And their numbers are higher in the number of members that have joined. One of the things that they did, which we followed because we copied, is they have dug into their data, and they have found that their engagement has increased significantly for the members that are buying the crypto. And they actually have found that their indirect auto members, which we all struggle with trying to get to be engaged with credit unions once you bring them on with their auto loan, they are now they're seeing engagement from those members. We are looking at that data. We should have that data from our members by early next week.
I think that pairs well into the why, right? So there's a lot of questions around like, well, why are you wanting to do this? Why would you offer this to your members? Why do you think this is the future? And so I would take the stance and do two things for you. One, I would say crypto as an asset class is a kind of a tip of the iceberg, right? So you know your members are engaging it. You know it's all over the media. You know people are getting bombarded with information. So I think it's our responsibility as a credit union and on our financial wellness for our members to make sure we're educating. Whether you want to offer it as a service or not, completely up to you. I think that's completely member-based, what your mobile banking solution looks like, how your talent looks internally, et cetera. But definitely a concentration on education and awareness for your members is really important, so they're not engaging in an activity that you know has a lot of fraud, has a lot of scams, has a lot of components into it, if they're doing it all over the place. The other part is we are definitely seeing this, and you can read a lot of different articles out there or statistics out there. Typical people who engage in crypto check their balance of their crypto, and I've seen everything up to like 65 times more than their checking account or 5 times more, but we know it's more. Part of that is because they don't know where it's going to go. They know exactly how much is their checking account, probably, but they don't know where their crypto is going to go every day. So they're constantly re-engaging with you. So if you have this as an opportunity for them to hold their cryptocurrency with you, they're probably going to engage more with you on a regular basis, which then enters into a different opportunity for you to engage back with that member in the normal services and business functions that we offer. And then to the point of additional services, there are opportunities here in whether it be having a good conversation with our members around what does their financial wellness really look like? Have they created a budget? Why are they deciding to invest? So our financial wellness team is actually taking a high aptitude towards putting together some training and some talks around this, because they use it as a springboard into what they really want to talk about, which is what's your financial picture really look like? How comfortable should you even be with your free cash flow to make investment decisions, let alone what investments to do? So I think it pairs very well with the credit union ethos of making sure our members are provided the right education, but putting them in a better financial position versus, hey, here's a new asset class you should invest in.
It looks like some of you have already started the poll here. So, we just wanted to see who in the audience has already started their roadmap, their strategy for digital assets and cryptocurrency. And it looks like,
Figuring it out, which
Yeah,
is
figuring it out.
standard currently.
yeah. So there was a visa study, a really, really good visa study that hopefully all of you have read or will go and seek and look into. They had some things that really stood out that we wanted to share with this group. Almost 95% universal awareness of cryptocurrency, which we really found that to be interesting. Crypto adoption is still early but significant. 5 types of crypto. That you've got your aware consumers, your active owners, your passive owners, your curious, your skeptics, and your unengaged. And the percentage we're really interested with that. Biggest drivers of owning and using crypto are to take part in a financial way of the future, build wealth, be able to transact anytime. And then I won't read each of these, and this is available in your book, but this is some information that's available to all of us, and then we really thought it was well done. Any of that you want to, other ones you want to stand out?
I think the easiest thing to look at, and surveys continue to come out and data keeps coming out, Trish earlier showed the adoption line compared to the internet. And so I think it has a lot of correlations. You asked a very good question earlier, John, on, hey, how is this going to really change and bleed into everything I do on a daily basis? I have no clue. I couldn't have told you when the internet was starting how pervasive it was going to be with the rest of my life either. So I think it's our job, and Visions has always been created a culture that we need to be aware of what's happening in the market. We need to be aware of what's affecting our members. And then as we go through our natural innovation evaluation, and what's disrupting the market, we're going to start seeing things that like, yep, that has a lot more tentacles or claws to our members than other things. And so for us, it just continued to go down that path of, yeah, this is something bigger than just, maybe I need to do it, maybe I don't need to do it. What it's going to end up doing, who knows? But I do think financial services as a whole is taking a pretty good hold onto this, investing a lot of money. You're looking at some of the top 10 banks having almost armies of people now starting to look into these and creating metaverses and all kinds of other things. So they've got a little bit more to play with than we have on a regular basis to invest in these kind of things. So we have to be very specific in what we pick and choose. But as we evaluate this, it was one of those things that rose to the top of, yeah, we need to pay a lot more attention to this than just let another technology go by.
One of the things we did find, it was a good point, that when we started our awareness campaign in February 2021, when we talked to banks and the large banks and even mid-sized banks, they've been under their awareness campaign for almost 3 years ahead of us. So credit unions were definitely behind. All right, Joe.
So what should I do? I get this question a lot, so we've started to engage it into the presentations. Most credit unions ask, well, cool, Joe, that's awesome. Thanks for talking. Now what do I leave this room and what do I do? The first thing I always tell people is understand your member, understand your data, right? Like, as Trish was saying, as others were saying, there's opportunities not only to look at what other credit unions member data looks like, but go pull your own data. See where capital has gone over the last 3 years and see how much has actually left your credit union to some kind of crypto exchange. If it's none, congratulations. Maybe you don't have members who want to engage this at all, and you can maybe just pay attention to it as a technology and not an asset class. My guess is almost all of you are going to see some kind of natural 10 times flow over the last 3 years. 2019, 2020, yes, 2021, wow, there's a lot of money leaving. So that makes me go, okay, I need to actually pay attention to this. So evaluate your data, look at what your members are doing first.
Let me just remind you, Trish offered a website that any credit union can go to for free. It'll actually help you create your data, so you don't have to have a team of data scientists to do it for you. It'll help give you the file layout and submit it, and it is secure because we've tested it, and you're not sending any confidential data. And then your report will be provided back, and they'll actually show you, compared to credit unions your size, what your members look like.
Repeat the website.
CU report, no,
CUcrypto.report. CUcrypto.report.
Then the next thing I always tell people is, this is less about turning on an ability for your members to engage in this asset investing if they choose to, and it's more about educating our members on what's happening and what's affecting them in the external world. So, like I said before, whether you choose to actually engage in turning on some kind of service to let someone buy, sell, hold this asset class, kind of doesn't stop the need for educating your member on what they're getting bombarded with from an informational standpoint in the economy we're in today. So I think there's a heavy degree on education awareness. I think it does start not only with your member, but with your boards. A lot of boards are asking questions of, hey, I'm seeing this all over the news. I'm seeing a lot of advertisements, crypto.com on every single game I see. So what is this stuff? How should we talk about it? So being prepared to educate your board on what it is, educating your senior management, and then engaging your employees as well, really important. And then finally, through all that, you're going to develop some kind of idea of, hey, here's where I think we want to go. So what's our strategy? What's our roadmap? Where are we headed? There's no right or wrong answer to this one. I've talked to very large credit unions who've said, we're not doing it. And I said, congratulations, I'm not here to convince you to do that. But they are doing education already. So I'm like, well, you're participating, whether they say you're participating or not. But that's the strategy they developed. And then I've talked to very small credit unions who think this is an incredible opportunity for them to recapture a market share that they've lost in their field of membership. So they're taking very, I would say, progressive motions towards whether it's creating QSOs and other innovative opportunities to recapture members that they feel like they've lost to the market. So you've got both ends of the spectrum right now, and I don't think there's a right answer, but I think you need to develop what answer works for you.
Thank you, Joe. So, any questions? Joe and I are available to any of you that would like to reach out. We do a lot of talks with credit unions to try and help them and give some guidance. We've made a lot of good contacts in the credit union industry and outside that we can share too. And we'd love all of you to join our external digital asset user group, which is now called DOG, because that's what it spells out. Yes. Whoa, sorry.
Have you guys asked for your compensation to be given in Bitcoin?
Has our compensation been changed to Bitcoin? No, I have not asked for my compensation to be. And Cynthia's about to retire, actually,
Yeah.
at the end of this year, so I'm pretty sure she's not putting all her assets in Bitcoin at this point in time.
No.
But it actually is an interesting question on the inverse side, right? Employee benefits. There's a lot of people starting to ask the question, how will I use this? Can I get paid in it? You are seeing various athletes saying, hey, I want to get paid in Bitcoin. Probably looks like a really terrible idea in the last 3 months. But if it started right now, maybe it'd be a good idea. Who knows? But I think it is something that we need to continue to keep our eye on. Just like we need to keep our eye on, there's a lot of people switching to daily payments for work. You're seeing more gig economy workers getting paid on a daily basis for the work they put in that day versus every 2 weeks or in a week lag, right? So who knows? Pretty soon our employees are going to come back to us and say, well, my buddy who drives Uber gets paid every day. I want to get paid every day too. I don't think my job's that much different from theirs. So again, it's one of those keeping advantage of what's going on in the industry and evaluating that and seeing how we can provide our members and our employees with the best experience.
So you're glad you're retiring?
Yes, I am glad. I'm moving from New York to North Carolina, so yes, I am glad.
She's ready to
Not
be
that I
out.
don't love New York.
She's ready to be out of the
I'm
cold.
just tired of the ice and the snow, yes. Anything else? Trish?
If somebody wants to join the digital asset users group, how should they inquire about that?
My email address, I think, has been provided, and Trish's, we can just email us and we'll send you the registration. You can sign it up. It's very quick to sign up for the portal. And we try to put all of the current regulation information out there too. As soon as NCUA came out in May, we had it out there that same day with their new guidance. So we really try to keep everyone current on what's happening. Good.
Another pair on, there was an earlier question that went to Andrew on kind of regulatory dynamics. And I'll give a credit union version of the answer. So one, I want to give props to our regulators, the NCUA in general.
Yeah.
They have been very forward in thinking about this, trying to better understand it, ask a lot of questions. What do you guys need from us? What can we better help you understand? How does it apply? I think early on, our statement was, hey, we'd love to apply the current regulatory framework to any changes that happen in our industry, and this is no different than that. So we're trying to apply the current regulatory framework to what we're doing. If there's areas that need additional guidance or clarity or possibly even a rule change, they've been very receptive to that, and you've probably seen that in the 2 guidance that have come out with the buy-sell back in December, and then the recent guidance around distributed ledger technology. Those 2 things alone also kind of are one of those, hey, I think it's them tapping you on the shoulder and saying, you probably should pay attention to this, it's affecting you. How it's affecting you, how it's going to affect you, maybe for you to determine, but the regulator's job is not to tell you what to do. Their job is to set up a framework for you to follow, and then to be a risk manager and provide a safety and soundness area for the members to engage with us. So that's what they're doing, and doing, I would say, a very good job with the credit unions of working in that space with us.
All right. We thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.